Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. I'm always interested in the four types of freedom: time, financial, location, health freedom. And I'm always scouring the globe looking for entrepreneurs, people on the cutting edge, changing the world. So today we have Jeff Felten, and he's a email marketer for service-based business owners. So today he's going to be talking all about email marketing. I'll let him introduce himself and get on with it. So Jeff, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, I know we had connected through Podmatch, and which is a great service. And tell us more about yourself, your background, how you got started in email marketing.
Yeah, so I guess to talk about where I got started with email marketing, we have to go way back a little bit. So right out of college back in 2011, I think, I helped start a coffee shop and did that for about 5 years. And that adventure actually led me to starting a coffee roasting company. So we had the coffee shop and the coffee roasting company. And it was with the coffee roasting company that we actually started to utilize email marketing, and kind of started to figure some things out with it, have fun, make a little bit of money. And so that's really where I learned, and I set it aside for a little bit and pursued a career as a copywriter. Just kind of all in to writing websites, writing ads, writing emails, and then eventually back in 2021 circled back to really focus down specifically on email marketing.
Yeah. It's a really great story because I think, like, for example, email marketing and like search engines, these are kind of like infrastructure, and then you have like social media, podcasting, YouTube. So tell people say email marketing is dead, or blogs are dead. All of this. Tell us the underrated benefits of email marketing.
Yeah, so email marketing is in fact not dead. I think there's a big confusion with it. There are, as you mentioned, there are quite a few top of funnel channels that we call, which is where people can really discover your brand, like social media, YouTube, search engine, that kind of stuff. But then email marketing is more what we call middle of the funnel. So when somebody becomes aware of your brand, what's your plan to lead them to the next step in the journey? And email is a great tool to do that. So it's very underrated from that aspect. A couple of benefits that a lot of people don't talk about. Everyone wants to talk about the ROI of email marketing, and I mean rightfully so. If it doesn't make you money, you probably shouldn't do it, right? I want to make more money from email marketing, but you know my philosophy with email is to focus less on the quick sale, focus less on making money and ROI, focus more on building trust and establishing your credibility, building a reputation and a relationship with your subscribers.
Mm.
Those kinds of things lead to long-term ROI. They lead to brand loyalty. They lead to top of mind awareness by just showing up consistently. So those are a few things that I think people don't talk about enough when it comes to email marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that this building trust and credibility, and because ultimately it's a direct relationship with you and your fan base, and
Yeah.
so I love that. What about, for example, a lot of people, for example, they have a huge following on like Twitter or Instagram, and then their account gets shut down, and they're like, "Oh man, I wish I had,
Yeah.
a list." Tell us more about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, I run into a lot of people. I'm pretty active on Twitter. I run into a lot of people who have big followings there and aren't really setting up a newsletter or an email list or something like that. And I mean, essentially, if that's you, your following is in the hands of somebody like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg or whoever owns these companies. They could theoretically snap their fingers and your audience is gone tomorrow. Or they could decide that they want to change the algorithm and only 5% of your 10,000, 20,000 followers actually see your posts. Where with the email, you actually own that list. You own that audience. You can download your email list into a CSV file and store it in a spreadsheet, and it's yours, right? But also, when you send an email, it lands in nearly 100% of the inboxes you send to, right? I think, a good deliverability rating is 97% or higher, right? So while not everybody opens your email, it lands in everybody's inbox. And maybe, a good open rate for a newsletter is 40 to 50%. So do the math. You have 10,000 newsletter subscribers versus 10,000 Instagram followers. How many, people are more likely to see your message? So you're absolutely right, Christopher.
Yeah. Yeah. And is there, for example, is there a way to, because you have the funnels, right? So is there a way to craft a sequence to get people in, and tell us more about crafting the email marketing funnel?
Yeah, absolutely. Funny you should say that, right? Welcome sequences is really kind of my bread and butter. And a welcome sequence is exactly what it sounds like. It is a series of emails that when somebody, visits your website and opts in for a lead magnet, a checklist, or, takes a quiz or takes a free mini course that you have, whatever your lead magnet is, a welcome sequence is a series of emails that follows that download, that free value that you provided. And that series of emails is focused specifically on earning trust, establishing your credibility, adding more value, being helpful and generous, and then also positioning your offering as the next logical step in the journey. So yeah, when you talk about funnels, look, there are a lot of different kinds of funnels you can create. But the funnel that I really specialize in is that welcome sequence funnel. When somebody opts in for a free offer, and then what's our plan with them to get them to become a client or a loyal fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And it's what you gave a lot of good wisdom and great advice there. When the listeners are listening and they're like, so email marketing, I need to get started, or I need to incorporate that. What are some software platforms to help people grow their email list?
Yeah, in terms of email marketing platforms, I mean, there's no shortage of them out there, right? I mean, you have MailChimp and ConvertKit and ActiveCampaign and HubSpot and Flowdesk, and all just, I mean, there's tons of them to choose from these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really, it just kind of boils down to choosing the right one. Boils down to what you need, right? I tend to go with ConvertKit a lot. I help my clients get set up in ConvertKit, and I really like that platform. It's pretty simple, intuitive, easy to use. It's just it just kind of makes sense. The UX UI, and so but it's still powerful enough to do everything that I need, right? Then you have on the other side of the spectrum, you have something like ActiveCampaign or HubSpot, and you're going to pay more for those. You're going to get a lot more bells and whistles. But for many service-based entrepreneurs who have a relatively simple business, just a handful of offerings, you don't really always need all those bells and whistles that everybody tells you need. And that's really kind of one of the hesitations I see a lot of people when they struggle to get started with email marketing, is because they hear about all these bells and whistles and automations and the tags and the segments and the A/B testing and all this kind of stuff, and they just they look at it and they're like, I don't even know where to begin, right? This is just too much. So if you have a little bit more of a complex business and you have a lot of service offerings, and you like doing all the testing and all that kind of stuff, then something like ActiveCampaign or HubSpot that is really, really, really powerful is gonna be a good option for you. But like I said, for most service-based brands that have a simple suite of offerings, ConvertKit will do just fine.
Yeah. And so what types of offers can you do through email marketing? Because can it be just everything from information, or can you do like high ticket offers? Can you do courses? Tell us how to use email marketing and some of the examples that people are using.
Yeah, I mean, you can use email marketing. Look, one of the things that I tell, a lot of my clients and I preach on social media is that email marketing is just a tool. You can use it for whatever you want. If you don't want to sell a single thing in email and you just want to focus on building trust and your reputation, like we talked about earlier, you could do that. You don't have to sell. You don't have to follow, some of the gimmicky things that you might see on the internet, or that give you some pause about whether or not to do it. That's another thing I see people, they look at their own inbox and they say, well, it's just so, filled up with junk and, everybody trying to sell me. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to be like that. But the truth is you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. So, yes, you can sell a high ticket offering. You can sell a course. You can sell a digital product. There are different ways to go about doing each of those. And, let's just take a high ticket offer, for example. More than likely, let's just be real. People aren't going to buy a high ticket offer from a click, right? Those usually require a phone call, just a little bit more familiarity. The sales cycle for those is longer. So, that changes the approach with email. The approach should be a little bit more about, establishing some of that trust and the credibility and reputation over the long term, being generous, being helpful, and then nudging them to scheduling a call to solve a problem, right? Where if you're selling, maybe a $10, $20 product, that might be a little bit more of an impulse buy, and you can, get away with being a little bit more direct about selling those. So the approach, varies wildly depending on what it is, but you can, like I said, you can do whatever it is you want. It's just a tool.
One thing that people love about email marketing is the automation. You kind of had, this people opt in, you give them the free offer or whatnot, and then they give you your email. But you talk about this thing where some emails don't or can't be automated or don't scale. So tell us more about that idea.
What do you mean, the emails that can't be automated or don't scale? What do you mean?
Or which emails can users automate and which ones can they not?
That's a good question. I lean more toward just about anything can be automated. Should you automate it? That's up to you, right? For example, one of the things I like to do with clients is to help them automate some of their onboarding and offboarding processes. I work with clients who, they're service-based business owners. A lot of times they're selling a high ticket offer, and, whether it's coaching or consulting. And so they already have an onboarding and hopefully an offboarding process. We're not, reinventing something there, but, I like to try to help them to use email marketing to automate that process. Essentially just to make sure that it happens. It's a customer experience play, right? The onboarding and offboarding is about making a great customer experience. And in my opinion, that's very good marketing. And it's often overlooked marketing. So, while sometimes we might, create a simple 3 or 4 email sequence to onboard a new client, I have some clients who don't want to automate that because there's a little bit more of a personal touch that they want to be able to include in those emails. Sometimes there's, customized information that needs to be in each email to where you can't really truly automate it. So what I'll encourage them instead to do is to create a swipe file, which is basically a template for that email, and just, store it in your Google Docs, your Google Drive, whatever. And then whenever you get ready to onboard a new client, copy that template and drop it into your email, fill in the blanks, and then it's ready to go. The whole point is to save you time and to ensure that this thing actually happens. Because what ends up happening if you don't have swipe files or automation set in place is that it doesn't happen because it's a mess. It's frustrating. You get caught up doing other stuff, and so that might slip through the cracks, and it really shouldn't. So again, yeah, it's again, you can automate just about anything, but should you? Not necessarily.
Yeah, really good, great question. And as we come to the end of this interview, tell us in general some different or effective email marketing strategies, just kind of, broad picture, and how people can contact you and follow you.
Yeah, sure. We'll start with the strategies. So again, welcome sequences is kind of my bread and butter. So, I'm a big believer that lead magnets followed by that series of emails called the welcome sequences is a great strategy. It's the best starting point. It's where, whenever I help somebody develop an overall strategy, that's where we start, the lead magnet and the welcome sequence. So that number one is in my opinion, the most effective strategy for service-based business owner. The other great strategy for a service-based business owner is a newsletter, like a weekly newsletter. And the newsletters that are very, very powerful today are not like the newsletters that were very powerful 10, 15 years ago, right? 10, 15 years ago, a newsletter was like a company bulletin board. Here's what's happening in our company. Here's a word from our president. Here's a picture of our company picnic, right? Like those things, those are dead. But newsletters that are very helpful, that are geared toward the reader, that help the reader solve a specific problem or accomplish something specific, those newsletters are extremely powerful nurture tools. They're powerful lead magnets. So that would be my the second strategy that I would recommend. The third thing, again, is I would use email to improve your customer experience. That's a big missed opportunity for marketers and business owners. A lot of marketing stops right at the point of purchase. When somebody becomes a customer, we don't market to them ever again. But it's actually easier and cheaper to get your customers to become repeat buyers or to get them to become loyal advocates of your brand than it is to get a cold browser on the internet to become a first-time customer. I'll let that sink in a little bit. So using email marketing, like I said, it's just a tool. So if you want to use it to improve your customer experience, that's a powerful marketing strategy that email can be used to do there. So is that clear? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how can people contact you, follow you, check out your website, reach out to you?
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on Twitter, Jeff Felten at Hey Jeff Felten. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Jeff Felten. I'm happy to connect with you, and I teach everything I know on social media. You could also find me. My website is got some helpful assets there. A free checklist that you can get. I send out a weekly newsletter called Humans Sending Emails, as well as a couple of templates and courses there for you that you can purchase. So head over to my website. There's a lot of resources to help you get started with email marketing there.
Yeah. And for all the listeners out there, let's thank Jeff for coming onto the show, talking about email marketing, really important, different strategies, and be sure to reach out to him on all the social media channels. All of the resources will be in links and show notes. And with that, thanks so much for coming onto the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris. It was an honor.